20 years since Hurricane Katrina forever changed parts of the Gulf Coast. Let's take a look back at how it all unfolded. A tropical depression formed on August 23, 2005 over the Bahamas. By August 24th, it became Tropical Storm Katrina. It was a Category 1 hurricane when it made its first landfall near Miami. The storm moved across South Florida and into the Gulf, where it rapidly intensified over the warm waters. It briefly became a powerful Category 5 hurricane, setting new records. On August 29th, Katrina, a Category 3 hurricane at this point, made a second landfall in a small town southeast of New Orleans, then a third near the mouth of the Pearl River. The storm brought catastrophic effects. More than 1,800 people died, billions of dollars in damage. Although the impact is still felt, New Orleans has recovered, and resiliency efforts continue today.
And so it's been 20 years of rebuilding, essentially. And I think we're in a much better position or place now in the city than we were then.
New Orleans looks a lot different today than it did in late August and early September of 2005.
There was nothing, there was no life, there was no movement, there was no people, there was nothing happening. It was a major city and there was nothing there. It was just destruction.
Matt Clark, a retired chief gunner's mate in the United States Navy, was on board the USS Tortuga in 2005. Matt Clark happens to be my dad. His ship and fellow crew members were deployed to Louisiana following Hurricane Katrina's landfall.
We were kind of just trying to prepare for a little bit of everything.
My dad and the rest of his team were tasked with helping the Coast Guard the first morning they were there. Once they finished up, they went back up the Mississippi River to start helping those who stayed behind.
So the first people we found, they just wanted to leave. They'd been there long enough. We're talking, I think, 4 or 5 days now after the storm, so they'd had enough. And we just started walking the neighborhood. We started walking the 9th Ward, and then we just ran into people. And as we ran into people, we just offered help.
Times were tough for all.
It was really hard to find fuel. I mean, we had barely enough gas on board the ship to even operate our own craft. There was no power anywhere. The roads were all blocked. I mean, it was a really difficult area to get any kind of assistance into.
To the north and east of New Orleans is Gulfport, Mississippi, another area hit hard by Katrina. Jessica Reno, who lives in the Low Country, knew they had to get to her in-laws to help.
And so we made the command decision to pack up the Tahoe, grab a friend's trailer, and we picked up 3 generators, a bunch of gas, a bunch of water, a bunch of non-perishable foods, because we just really didn't know what their status was at that point.
As they crossed into Mississippi, they started seeing some of the devastation.
On the interstate, some of a lot of trees down. You could see where there were boats that were in places that boats shouldn't be.
Those sites of destruction continued as they drove into Gulfport, and the smells seeped in.
So Gulfport is a port city. You have a lot of container ships come in. The smell of rotten chicken was awful.
I had the chance to talk with Colin Arnold, the director of the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness for the city of New Orleans. He says they have recovered, but it's important they don't become complacent.
We have to continue to make sure to hold accountable those that inspect, that provide preventative maintenance, those that do things that protect the infrastructure in the city, and to make sure that we have good communications with them, that we understand what's going on.
Over the last 2 decades, they've been able to make improvements. A critical one, a new power station that came online just last month. This will help power the city's pumps, which has always been an issue.
And it's a massive pumping system, 30 pump stations. It has the equivalent capacity of pumping the Ohio River in the opposite direction. It's going to be a game changer for us as far as being able to really power that drainage system through anything.
There's also been added protection to the area, a 2-mile surge barrier.
But they can close that wall and it protects us up to 28 feet of storm surge.
And improvements to the levee system. All these changes and improvements, so hopefully the area will never have to experience that level of devastation again. While most of the areas hit continue to rebuild and become more resilient, some areas, unfortunately, haven't been able to completely redevelop, showing the magnitude and devastation of this storm.